even if you looked in ChatGPT at the moment, and I don't know if people have done this, but when you open the app or when you're in ChatGPT, you can actually choose which ChatGPT model is actually answering your question. So if you look up the top of your screen, most of people would see ChatGPT 4.0 or 4 Omni.
That's the default, right, Gareth?
That's the
it
default.
Just does that, yeah.
And it's great for 90% of tasks. But if you click on that, you'll see this drop down. There's all these other models. And I was having a conversation with someone yesterday and they're like, what are these? What are they all? Do I need to even care? Do I even need to know what they are? And one that I found that helps me massively, so where I would select off GPT-4 Omni, I go to GPT-03 Mini. So a very, very high level explanation. If you see 03 or 01 in your model selection, these are what's called the reasoning models. And when we say reasoning, when you put a request in, when you type something in and say, hey, I want you to find me a great place to eat for lunch, if you put that request into a reasoning model, the tool actually starts to think through your request and it thinks through how it's going to answer your question, which is kind of cool. And you can actually watch it reason. So if you're using 03 Mini and it has this little word that says thinking, press on it and you can actually see it talking to itself as it's thinking. But back to your question, I love online shopping, even though I've got a very strict and online shopping in terms of cycling products. And I've got a very strict budget set in our household of how much I'm allowed to spend on cycling products each year. But 03 Mini is a fantastic online shopping assistant. So the shift, why it's fantastic is because A, it's a reasoning model. So it's going to think through a little bit more of your request. And also it helps you really actually put in all the things that are important to you when you're shopping. So I use that. And a couple of tips, select the model and then press where you're going to type in your request. If you press the search button as well. So what that means is when you click that button and it goes blue, the model is now live searching the internet. So you've now got your own personal online shopping assistant.
Okay, I am obsessed. I have been playing with this. I only started this yesterday because I wanted to be ready for the show, Gareth. And it's dangerous. I'm glad I didn't do it a week ago because it is fun. So everyone, you go into, openai.com, you go /GPT or whatever, and you need to be a paying member at this point. So they've got what you said before, the $32 a month plus account. But you definitely don't need to spend $200 for the pro version for this. And in the top left, there'll be the drop downs and you're going to go to 03 Mini like you said, and then you're going to click the little button near where you type your prompt and you're going to click search. Something I played with yesterday was, I don't know where this comes from, but I'm very cheap. Like I love shopping, but I love, love, love a bargain. And so I asked it to go through eBay for vintage Dolce & Gabbana, and I even told it I want it to be under $150. I need it to ship to Australia, and it searched the entire internet for me. Do you know how frustrating eBay is if you're trying to find an item? It's like so many pages of clicking through that it ruins the experience even for someone like me that loves shopping.
The other cool thing there that you can add in, which I do because I'm like you, I like a bargain, is in your request, I ask the type of product I want, and then I say, find me current discount codes for the product as well. So you know how there's always like, at checkout, enter this word?
Yes.
But it's like, I always only find them too late. Like I'll be listening, like, I've already bought that thing. I didn't realize it had.
Yeah, you get an email after you've bought it. Yes. Here's 10% off your first order.
Yes.
But you're like, what?
Yeah. Yes. So ask it. And I then ask it, I say, can you give me the results in a table? Because the other thing is you can ask these tools to do is ask it to produce everything how it's best for you. So me personally, I don't like scrolling through lots of text. So when I do my online shopping, I say, find me the top 5 of these products that are the best value for money, that to your point, I can get shipped to Australia, also have the best Reddit and other reviews, Google reviews, because then it finds 5-star reviews. And then I say, and then I want you to prioritize the products that have the best discount codes, put those discount codes in the table for me. has been like so helpful.
Oh, Gareth, can you do a screenshot of this for the pod listeners, maybe? Yeah.
Yeah.
I would love to see the output and your query because I'm going to copy.
Yeah.
Because I've just been playing around and I definitely didn't put it in a table. I definitely didn't use discount codes. That is so incredible. Are there any downsides to doing this? Have you ever, been given a bum steer or anything that, you were like, oh, I got so excited, but it actually led me to a place that doesn't ship to Australia or I can't get to?
And that 100%. And I've clicked on a link that just doesn't exist. So I think that's really important. And you mentioned at the beginning of the conversation is that think of it as an assistant that's getting you almost there, and then you're going to do the last sort of 20%. And there's always the example I use is those terrible those horror stories of lawyers going to court with made up legal cases. But what's really interesting is we did a bit of work with a couple of law firms and we asked them a question and we said, okay, so you had a paralegal that's worked overnight, prepared you, got everything you need ready to go in court. Would you just take their work and walk straight in the courtroom? And they all looked at us like we were fools and said, of course not. And we said, okay, so what would you do? Well, I'd sit down, I'd go through it, I'd double check, I'd give the paralegal some assistance, I'd give them some feedback, I'd correct stuff. And I'm like, well, why don't you do that with an AI tool? And they're like, okay. And even in our experience with these online shopping assistants, same thing. And I also find what really works for me is if it does give me an output and there's something that's quite right, I give the feedback. I say, I've just checked and the first two links don't exist. Please, can you go back and check your work? And it's like, oh, my apologies. Let me go back. So I think to your point of some people try it, they don't get the result. Well, it's not a one-off thing. Think of it as that conversation. So when you're doing your online shopping, really work with your online shopping assistant. Say, I actually don't like your first product recommendation because of this reason. I like recommendation 2. Can you find me 5 more items like recommendation 2? So that's where it just gets really, really helpful.
I love this iterative approach. Guys, you don't have to write the perfect prompt up front either. It's not your fault either. Don't get disenfranchised if you type something and you don't get the perfect result. Keep playing with it. Keep going back and forth. If you choose to, you can see your history and you can just kind of have a play around with, I asked this prompt before and it gave me exactly what I wanted. What if I just change one word? What does it give me? Think of it as playing. It doesn't have to be work, does it, Gareth? It can be fun.